So let's make a simple omelet. This is what we're going to start with. We got eggs, we have some butter, not a lot because that's all I have left. I have a little bit of grated cheese. It's always nice if you just keep a little bit in the fridge to use for this reason. You could use slices of cheese, but it takes longer to melt. Grated cheese is really easy. Got some milk, and again, salt and pepper. So the other things you're going to need, pretty simple. You're going to need a pan, and that's just the same pan that we used for the hash browns. Spatula, and really helpful is going to be a lid. And likely you're going to have a nice clear lid like this, but some kind of lid. It doesn't even have to fit the pan perfectly. So what we're going to do, so in a restaurant you might get some really big 3-egg omelet. I just make little omelets. So these, look at these little eggs. These are from Pammy's Chickens. They're very little. So I'm going to use 2. And it's not going to be a very big omelet. Ooh, look, a brown one and a white one. So always crack them in a little bowl because you can get shells, and then it's a hassle to get them out. That's one. There's the second one. If you do get a shell, the very easiest way to get it out, and I do have a little shell, is with the shell itself. So if you look here, you see this little thing? Can you see it right there? Probably not. I'm just going to use that to, oh, there we go. Best way to get it out. All right. So the chemical reaction that happens when they cook, so you're going to scramble this up. I'm just using a fork. I'm doing a motion like this. You're going to use a bigger bowl, I'm sure, so it'll be easier. You're scrambling the eggs. And believe it or not, there's different size eggs. So these eggs were really small. Most of the time people buy large or extra large eggs. So 2 eggs would make a lot more than that. I'm going to put a splash of milk in. This helps it cook. The milk helps it steam. So if you watch, it's just like, boy, that was just a little bit. That was maybe for 2 small eggs. That was like, I don't know, a tablespoon and a half or something. You can see it's just a little splash. I'm going to mix that in. And then you got to have a little pinch of salt or a couple shakes of salt because that also helps with the chemical reaction that helps the egg. I don't remember what it does, honestly, but you're just supposed to do it. So, you know, just do it. Okay. Then we're going to go over here. We're going to do, and we have, this is electric. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the hash browns. I'm going to turn this to medium. I'm going to warm up the pan. I didn't even clean the pan because I'm just using the same pan that I just used to make the hash browns. So, getting hot. Yep, getting nice and hot. So if the pan, the omelet is going to spread out to the size of the pan. In this case, actually, I'm going to use the smaller pan. So let me get the smaller pan out. See, this one is a little bit smaller. There's my hand. A smaller pan will be easier because the omelet's going to spread out. If you don't have a smaller pan, you're just going to use a larger pan and it's going to get like really thin. Okay, so I'm going to turn this back on and warm it up. You can use butter or oil to coat the pan. Actually, in a non-stick pan, you don't have to have anything, but it's flavor. You know, oil and butter are a flavor enhancer ultimately. You don't have to have them to make eggs in a non-stick pan, but boy, it's sure a lot better that way. So, I'm going to put that butter in. I'll probably, just because that's unbelievably all the butter I have in the house, I'm probably going to add a little bit of oil to it, just because I would normally use a little bit more than that. So, this is actually just extra virgin olive oil. Even though it says, here it is, Patron, it's a tequila bottle, but you know, it works well for this. All right, so that's starting to melt. Again, I'm going to swirl it around. See how that, it's interesting, just chemically, the butter has a different smoke point than oil. Okay, I'm swirling it around. I'm getting it all around the edges because the egg will go up to the edges. Okay, I have this on. See how it's, I don't want it to burn, but I want it to be hot. Now over here, I don't want this to be too hot, right? Because if I don't want to burn my egg, it'll be disgusting. So I'm going to pour my prepared egg in. Now I'm going to turn it up a little bit Now that it's in there, I'm going to turn it up, not too high, but pretty high. And notice, see the edges, how they start to cook right away. You can see that. I'm going to cover it. You don't have to cover it, but I find it cooks better if you do. You're not going to cook it for more than a minute or two. We'll see how it's looking so far. Look, see how it's starting to boil. You don't want it to really boil. So now I'm going to turn it back down. You know, down not to low, but closer to low. So you can do a couple things. You can turn it. You can just fold it over, or you can, let's see. I'll show you. Look, if you wanted to turn it, now that side, you see it's starting to cook, and on the underside, see how delicate it is? I'm going to say, let's just fold it over instead of try to turn it, because it's hard to do. We're going to go like this. I'm just going to take this. I'm going to work this under, and I'm going to just go like that, right? Push it there. Oh, come on and stay. Stupid thing. I'm just going to cover it and let it cook. It's not going to take long. So I have it like medium low. If you're working on an electric instead of a gas, you can't make these quick adjustments because it takes a while for it to heat up and cool down. But on electric, you can make quick changes. Okay, so it's still kind of runny, obviously. I could turn it over if I want, or you could just leave it. If it was a 1-egg omelet, it would be done already. Since it's 2, it's not done yet. Oh, that looks a little bit better. At this point, you could cover it and let it cook. Again, if you don't have a lid or you want to be able to see it all the time, then don't cover it. The inside's going to cook super fast. So what I like to do if I'm making a small one like this, if I'd made it like this, instead of turning the whole thing over, I'm just going to put the cheese right here, and I'm going to fold it in quarters when it's done and serve it like that. But I'm going to put cheese on there now so it starts to melt. It's going to start puffing up a little bit. Let's see. See how even in a non-stick pan, see how it can kind of stick a little bit? It's getting older. See, it's not like the newest pan on earth. So now I'm going to just fold that over. And then I'm going to turn it off, and I'm just going to let that cheese melt for a moment. Again, if it's electric, you can't just leave it sitting there because it'll keep cooking. But since it's gas, see, that's the heat is off. There's a little heat left in the pan. I'm just going to cover it. We're going to let that cheese melt. And there you go, see? The cheese is nice and melty. It looks pretty good. This is a really quick, you saw how quick that was, right? Super quick. If you want to make it really fast and eat it, you can just pop it in a tortilla and go. Yum!